Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Parts of West Virginia continuing to contend with catastrophic flooding from Tuesday's rainfall, but the weather is mercifully quieter, cooler, and drier the rest of the week. Over the weekend into early next week, a more active pattern could bring additional heavy rainfall. For now, taking stock of what has already fallen. A swath of several inches of rain for a large area, with rainfall rates that surpassed 3 inches per hour, bringing more than 7 inches to Buchanan in just a matter of hours. Sand Run exceeding previous record flood stages by more than 2 feet. A devastating situation there. Fortunately, accumulation will be on the lighter side of things over the next 5-day period. Once we extend through Monday and Tuesday, it's possible that we have additional excessive rainfall in the area. But for now, high pressure building in from the north will secure some nice, quiet conditions for the rest of the work week. FlyStar W forecast, it starts at home, quieting down for D.C. as well, New York, Chicago. Not so much, though, for Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, Atlanta, those areas having some heavy rain themselves. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, we'll have a very cool and clear night. Temperatures in low to mid 50s, below average temperatures, then staying on the cooler side with mid and upper 70s into our Thursday. Charlestown, 57 tonight, then 79 here Thursday. Davis, a high of 70. Looking to Elkins with 53, and then 77 for a high. Staying shy of 80 in some of our warmer spots looking west. As we go through the southern parts of the region, mid-50s and low 60s for lows, then mid-70s, and now finding a few low 80s in the warmest spots. We'll gradually trend warmer and a bit more active into next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, 3, 1.
Rag 57! Rag 57! Hot!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Sportsline for Wednesday. Good evening once again. Thanks for joining us. Kyle Wiggs, Greg Hunter, Brad Howe in the Health Plan Studios. We're underway with this edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. And guys, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, all.
Few things to do tonight. As usual, we'll do a summer check-in with the coach of one of the contenders for the Mountain East Football Conference Championship, Coach Mike Tesch. He'll make his Sportsline debut a little bit later on in this first segment. And also, the American Legion State Tournament begins in Beckley tomorrow. And you can watch all those games on the MetroNews TV app. And Chris George, who's the state director of American Legion Baseball, will join us, get a little preview. Of course, they had some logistical issues earlier today because of the floods. And I-79 was closed for a stretch. And obviously that's the main artery right through the middle of the state. So we'll check in with Chris. I'm assuming everybody arrived safely because the banquet was scheduled to start at 6 o'clock, the pregame, the pre-tournament banquet tonight. So we'll check in with Chris and make sure everybody got there, everybody's good. And then we'll talk a little bit about the first-round matchups tomorrow. So that's all coming up.
Yeah, certainly still thinking about everybody affected. Those pictures and videos that are coming out are wild. I mean, we had Brian on last night updating everybody as we went along, so we knew it was bad throughout the state. But when you see those images, certainly heart-wrenching there. So certainly thinking about everybody digging out from that.
And Brian, when we went off the air, he was with us about 6:40, 6:45 and said, look, it's not going to stop. It's going to get worse. And it did in those areas in the central part of the state. And the rain just kept coming down, and there was flooding situations all through there. So you're right. Luckily, thank God, no loss of life. But a lot of people have a lot of work to do to try to get back to normal. And more on that situation at WVMetroNews.com. Brad, you found TBT on TV, something we all had kind of forgotten about because there's no Best Virginia this year.
Yeah, and I have to say, guys, I miss it. I miss it. That's been fun for from a professional standpoint, just being able to talk about it on this show and talk about the guys and have them on and discuss it. And then certainly I've been fortunate to call the games the last few years. And last year was just a fun run all the way to the Final Four. I've really enjoyed that event over time. But you're right, Kyle, with no Best Virginia in it this year, I have completely forgot about it. What I didn't know until earlier today, and the reason that comes up, Louisville and Kentucky's teams are playing right now in Kentucky. The reason that I thought of this, I saw that this game was going to be on, so I wanted to watch it. And then I did a little digging. I didn't realize they'd changed the format of this event now. So they upped the guarantee to $2 million to the winner. It's been $1 million since its inception. It's now $2 million for the winning team. But here's what I found interesting. There's two separate brackets going on in this thing. On the one side are the alumni teams, and you have to have a certain number of alumni playing for you. There's 8 teams that are playing a best-of-3 series tournament. So you've got to win 2 or 3 to get out of the first round. Then it goes into single elimination from there for the alumni teams. On the other side of the bracket, there's 6 teams that are just open entry type teams into this. They're playing off, and then the winners will meet for the championship. So a different format, but certainly not the same number of teams.
Right,
and
fewer teams.
And I don't know if it's less buzz or it's just because Best Virginia's not in it that we're not paying attention. It's not front of mind. But I have to say, I missed the event. I really do.
Yeah, that was a great run last year.
Yeah, and give the TBT credit for catching up with modern terms, because their terminology on their website, according to the alumni team, each alumni team is allowed 4 portal transfer players.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, we'd call them ringers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you might as well call them portal transfers.
Yeah, non-alums, so you only get 4 on an entire team.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Again, I haven't watched it enough. This is the first time I've seen even a minute of it to know whether I would like the 2 out of 3 format to start. It was disappointing those years when West Virginia would lose early. It was a bummer because you get so excited for it. But years like last year where you're able to advance on and have some of those wonderful moments, that was really a fun way to pass the final few weeks of summer before football practice began. So RIP to the TBT, at least in terms of Best Virginia for now.
Text line is open, 304-TALK-304. We welcome your input on the CityNet statewide sports line tonight. Let's check in with Mike Tesch. He's the second-year head football coach at the University of Charleston. He's been on the staff much longer than that, but second year as head coach, and UC last year went 7-1 in the league. Unfortunately, that loss was to Frostburg, and Frostburg went 7-1, so thus that was the tiebreaker, and Frostburg made the playoffs. But UC, again, one of the top contenders to win the league this year. And, Coach, good evening. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
What's the Division II calendar look like? When do you get a chance to get your guys together and get things going for preseason practice?
For us, we can kind of have them whenever over the summer. We bring a lot of guys back in July. So we had a good solid group this July that have been working the last 3 weeks, and then we'll give them a few days off before we check into camp next week. We check into camp a little earlier because we open week 0 on a Thursday. So we check in next week. So, but we brought them back after July 4th is when we bring most of those guys back that we can get back.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, as Kyle just said, you've been with the program for a little while, but last year was your first year as the head coach. So what did you learn as a head coach that maybe you didn't realize as an assistant previously?
Well, there's a long list. That's a tough one because there's just so many things you can kind of talk about. But I think, the biggest thing is just, I got to be able to have a hand in all phases of the game. And I did a little bit last year. I'll have, I got different coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball this year. So I feel better about that, which will kind of allow me to float around in the other phases of the game more than I was able to last year, while still having the input that's needed on offense.
Mike, we spend so much time on this show and at the Division I level talking about the transfer portal and the unlimited movement that exists now. That's basically been a way of life in the D2 level forever. You guys are a little more used to it. Talk to us about recruiting some here. Has the movement at the Division I level affected you guys either way, either getting more players, losing more players, and have you guys gone into the high school ranks a little more maybe than you would have in the past?
I would say a little bit of all of the above. It's hurt us. The portal's hurt us. The portal's helped us. And then, we've taken advantage of the high school aspect for sure. We've honestly, I think between the last two signing classes, we're probably pushing 90 guys in high school players the last two signing classes. And we got a lot of good players that, they're young still, As far as the portal movement goes, we've done a good job of getting the right guys, I believe. We've done a good job of getting guys that have multiple years. So we've kind of limited the one and done guys, which I think has been a good impact on culture. And we've done a good job of doing our research on our portal guys. For the high school class, I'm involved, obviously being the head coach with all the kids, but I have multiple conversations with all the transfers before we take any type of commitment for them, because we're looking for, culture fit more than we're looking for, football fit. If they're not good at football, we're not talking to them anyways. So, but, we've lost some good players too. And I think, They let the cat out of the bag pretty quickly with the portal. There's a lot of tampering that goes on. We've got, coaches from higher levels trying to poach our players. We got coaches in our league, trying to poach our players, especially with the transition that took place last year with me becoming head coach. We've had some coaches leave that try to take players with them, and they've been unsuccessful. The other thing too with us is our retention's been very solid this past year. So, we didn't really have to dive into the portal much this past year. So, but the portal's just, it's one of those things though. It's different every year. It's just really based off what your roster is. And, I believe in what we're doing here. And I think, with us being able to bring in these high school guys and, we signed a class my first year of about 60 high school kids and we brought over 50 back. So, if we can focus on retention and find ways to keep our guys here, we can continue to have the success we've had.
We're with Coach Mike Tesch, University of Charleston head football coach. Your offense was very good last year, 30-plus points 8 times, 40-plus points 3 times. Now, you talk about the transfer portal. I know your quarterback transferred to Northern Illinois. So talk about Ian Hamrick. Talk about the offense, who's going to lead, first of all, from that quarterback position, and the rest of the skill that you have.
Yeah, so Ian was a big part of the offense the last 2 years. And he graduated. He got his degree from Charleston, and he had an opportunity to move on for his last year and kind of do grad school somewhere else. And me and him talked for a while before it happened, and that's kind of the decision we kind of came to, because the flip side to the portal I don't really talk about is, guys are getting opportunities they deserve. He earned that opportunity, and, he deserved it. So, but he actually, he didn't play the last 4 games of the year last year. He played a little bit in the last game against State, but Matt Fry started the last 4 games of the season last year after we played Frostburg. He went 4-0 as a starter to end the year. So, he's back with 3 years left. Excited about him coming back. And, the skill position is going to be, different. I know we had the same starting receivers. We had the same 2 starting receivers for the last 4 years, and they finally graduated. Very dynamic, very, very dynamic set of receivers that we had. So they're going to be extremely tough to replace. But we've got players, we've got athletes, so – we'll be fine at the skill position, and then Matt's got a different gear to him. A lot of quarterbacks at this level don't have. His first start last year, we were down 28-3, and, we came back and won the game by 10 points. So, you know, he's a kid. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He does whatever we ask, you know, and he gets better every day. So, yeah, that's why we're excited about him.
Yeah, Matt, one of the in-state guys from Scott High School, did unbelievably productive high school player. So it's great to see him have success with your program and at this level.
Yeah, no, he's got a special career ahead of him. You know, we just got to make sure we protect him. You know, up front, protect him with the right guys on the perimeter, and you know, he knows how to run the show, and you know, so good thing, you know, we got some growing pains out of the way early with him, you know, like every quarterback, you know, but you know, Matt, no, we're excited about Matt. We got a good one with him just being from down the road, so.
So, Mike, you said, same question as I sort of asked earlier in terms of year 2. Any style changes that you said, you know what, year 1, I didn't really like that. I think we're going to do this. I mean, some of it's based on the talent you have. Certainly Matt Fry's athletic ability changes some things, but anything you looked at and go, you know what, we're going to do this different in year 2?
Yeah, I got a few things. I'll be honest with you. You know, how we approach certain things and our, you know, kind of our keys to a game some of our team approaches is going to change a little bit with the way I look at some things. Just kind of how I look at how the year went. You know, we had 5 of our victories. We were down by double digits at one point during the game. So, you know, looking at some different things to start faster, you know, and utilize, you know, our talent. That, you know, a lot of that comes down to talent, and, you know, a lot of that comes down to just being in shape. So it's just kind of looking at, well, how can we get rid of the slow starts but still capitalize on us, you know, being in, you know, better condition than some other teams that we play. You know, that's what some of that kind of came down to. But there are some style things, you know, we've looked at, we've talked about. A lot of people are listening, so some of it I'm going to say for week 0,
sure.
If I'm going to be honest with you. But, yeah, you know, there's some things I've looked at that are going to change, and we're going to look different in a few aspects, you know, going forward. But yeah, we'll see week 0.
See, you're only in your second year as a head coach, but you're already a veteran here handling the media stuff. Very well done there, Mike. Hey, go back.
Yeah.
Go back to retention here for just a second. I'm interested in that. You talked about what a great job you guys did this last season in keeping some of your guys. What do you think it is about you, about your staff, about UC that allowed you to have such good retention when so many schools are struggling with that throughout the country and at all different levels?
Well, you know, I think they know we care about them. They know, you know, they kind of know what they're getting on a day-to-day basis. We spend a lot of time with them. They know, you know, I think we do a good job as a coaching staff of having the right relationships with our guys. We spend a lot of time with them in the off season. You know, we make sure we have enough contact points with each kid that, you know, each kid knows that they can come to the office, shut the door, and, you know, talk about whatever they got going on. You know, and I keep a lot of things real with them. They know who I am. You know, I'm pretty blunt with them about just about everything that we go through, the good, the bad, the positive, the negative. I think they know what they're getting on a daily basis with me, and, you know, I just kind of keep things real with them. And, you know, even with the kids that get into the portal, when they ask and about where they're at in their team and they're staying with the team, I just keep it real with them. And, you know, I think what a lot of kids realize is when you get into that portal, you don't know what you're getting when you're talking to other coaches until you're actually in that program. And I think we've had enough kids that have moved on, and, you know, we've had a lot of kids want to come back. We've had, you know, I'm thinking off the top of my head 3 or 4 Division I guys that transferred Division I that wanted to come back. And, you know, our guys talk, like they still talk to those guys, and when our kids that are in-house hear that and know what they went through, you know, that word trickles down. And I think that scares a lot of kids from wanting to leave because, you know, there's a lot of ups and downs at Charleston. You know, it's not what everyone thinks it is when you're in the program. You know, for example, you know, we have an off-campus stadium we share with a high school, and, you know, I'm me as the head coach. I drive the bus to practice, but it's, you know, that's part of it. But I think guys just know what they're getting on a daily basis with us, and, you know, they know where they stand at all times. You know, we're constantly giving them feedback, and the feedback's shown on the field, and, you know, we reward good play. And I think the other thing too, you know, from last year, you know, we're not scared to play freshmen. We're not scared to play, like, whoever the best player is going to play, and we've shown that. We've had all conference players beat out in training camp by freshmen. So there's a lot of examples, that I could probably come up with. But I think, the kids know what they're getting on a day-to-day basis. They see the consistency from the coaching staff. And, I think at the end of the day, if there's anything you can appreciate from somebody, it's just honesty and consistency.
One more thing for you, Coach. I find your schedule fascinating because you open with Grand Valley and Cal PA, one at home, one on the road. Those are 2 playoff teams from last year in your non-conference portion of your schedule. And then you take a trip to Greenville, South Carolina, North Greenville. So that's challenging, to say the least, before you even get into conference play.
Yeah, well, they're all playoff teams. North Greenville was a playoff team as well. They won their conference. I don't. One, it's tough to get teams. I mean, there's a list of teams that won't play us in our region. I think the frustrating thing for me is just, region. Region record may or may not come into play when it comes to like playoff standings, and it's a metric that's down the line. So it may or may not have impact. But I think the frustrating thing for me is there's a lot of teams in our region that don't want to play us. So that's why I have a lot of respect for Cal. Re-upping the contract, because it's going to be four years in a row we play them when it's all said and done. And I know Grand Valley goes through the same thing. So it just made sense. It gives us a good strength of schedule when playoff time comes. And, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Like, and at the end of the day, these last couple of years, last year we just missed out in the playoffs from our own undoing. And, but, the 2 years before, we lose very winnable games. I mean, we lose in 23, we lose 1 point to Kutztown, and look what Kutztown's done to everybody, these last few years. And, we were up by 14 with 5 minutes left in the game. Then we lose a tough one to Ashland. Game we could have won if we just executed at the right times. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to go out and find out who we are right away. We're not going to wait 8, 9, 10 weeks to figure out who we are. We're going to go find out how tough we really are, week 0. And there's no reason, if those teams are available to play, there's no reason for us not to play those games if we, want to be the program that we're trying to be, So, but scheduling is getting harder and harder. I'll be honest. It's one of the more challenging parts of the job, and just finding people that want to play. It's tough. It's very tough. But all 3 of those guys that were playing to open the year, I just have respect for them being willing to play. But it's part of the fun. Like, if you're not wanting to play these games, then, you're kind of in it for the wrong reasons. Our guys are hyped for these opportunities because, for our players, it's an opportunity to go out. That week 0 game is going to be, the biggest platform we've had to showcase our program in a long time. And, so for us, it's just another opportunity to figure out who we are, figure out how good we really are. And, we're not waiting to the playoffs to see a team like that. We're going to figure out what it looks like early and figure out what we need to do and figure out how close we really are, or figure out maybe we're not that close, But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning a national championship when you step on that field. That's our objective. And, everything we do in our program is about that. So, part of that is, playing these teams on that journey. The biggest thing for me, the only thing I'm really nervous about is health. I was just staying healthy. As long as we stay healthy, and get through it before we get into conference play, that's probably just my biggest concern. But we will. We got a tough team. We got tough kids, and they're the types of kids that that attack these opportunities. So they want to win it. So. But no, it's part of the fun. I'm excited. It's going to be a big one to start the year. We're excited for it. It's at home. It's, I've gotten a lot of questions of, how we got them to come down and, but they're kind of in the same position we are. So, it's tough to find games. And, when you got a decent opponent that wants to play, you're going to sign up for that opportunity.
No question. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. We've taken up probably much more than we should have. But, again, good to get to know you a little bit. And good luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you. Head coach Mike Tesch there, University of Charleston, head football coach. You can sense the excitement.
You can, and I do think that's a good approach. We've talked about that a bunch. I think these D2 schools, and the MEC in particular, have an opportunity to really go in and get some high school talent that before maybe they would miss out on a guy here or there because that player was trying to go Division I somewhere else. And I think it's a great path for high school players. Go play, right? As you heard right there, go in and play and produce, and then you have a chance to move on if it's in the cards.
304 Talk 304, that's the text line. We'll take a break. We're underway on this Wednesday night on the CityNet statewide sports line from the Health Plan Studios. Since 1979, the Health Plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan. We are here for you.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
The 2026 West Virginia Prep Football Showcase partnered with Coalfields & Company.
The premier program across all classes in the state.
Analysis from Travis Jones and Joe Brigato. See the players and programs shaping the 2026 season. Watch high school football athletes compete in the 40-yard dash, 5-10-5 shuttle, and broad jump. Streaming live July 25th on MetroNews Television, YouTube, and Facebook.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorold.
Sportsline Wednesday night. Kyle, Greg, and Brad will check in with Beckley here coming up in just a few minutes, where the State American Legion baseball tournament will start tomorrow morning, bright and early. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. The top 2 contenders for the National League Rookie of the Year award have both homered today. J.J. Weatherholt hitting his 15th for the Cardinals, and right now that stands as the only run of the ballgame. The Cardinals lead the Angels 1-0. And the Angels are batting in the bottom of the 9th, 1 out and nobody on. Joe Adell at the plate with a full count. Riley O'Brien, who blew a save against the Angels on Monday, trying to lock this one down. And the Cardinals are struggling. They've lost 4 in a row, and the bullpen has kicked a couple of those games. In the meantime, Sal Stewart hits a 3-run home run today, and that was the deciding blow as the Reds beat the Seattle Mariners out west 5-3. So Stewart was 70-plus RBI, and we'll check the number. I know it was JJ's 15th. We'll check the number for Stewart here, what home run of the year that was for him. That's his 17th. So, I'm sorry, that's his 21st. Stewart with 21 home runs, and the Reds beat Seattle 5-3. So your two National League Rookie of the Year front-runners both hitting home runs today.
Yeah, according to the betting odds, we talked about this earlier this week. Here's the updated ones on FanDuel. Stewart's got some work to do. He's plus 370 to win the award, as JJ's the heavy favorite right now, guys, still sitting at minus 160 as the leader. You've mentioned Valdez from the Pirates before. He's a ways back now at 10-1. So right now it's a two-person race, and really it's a one-person race with JJ being the heavy favorite at this point. Obviously a lot of baseball still to be played. You mentioned Stewart's putting up some good numbers, but JJ, just keep producing, my man, and he might walk home with a Rookie of the Year award, which how awesome would that be, guys?
Valdez had a quiet day today, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but the Pirates won. They got rained out last night, so the makeup game here, actually this is the regular scheduled game. It was scheduled to end today, the series. The makeup game's tonight. It's part of a day-night doubleheader. The Pirates won that game 5-3 over the Yankees, and that gives the Pirates a slight lead. They're up by a half game in the race for that final wild card spot, and it looks like the Angels have a run on, a walk, I believe, and a wild pitch. So the tying run at second with 1 out. And again, the Cardinals leading 1-0. But to your point, if J.J. Weatherholt could win the National League Rookie of the Year, I know a lot of Reds fans rooting for Sal Stewart to get that award, but obviously he would be the first former Mountaineer player to win a major MLB award. We saw an All-Star. We saw a Mountaineer player make the All-Star team.
Yeah, and Manoah was right there for the Cy Young Award. I mean, he finished third in the Cy Young that year, so he was sniffing that and right around it. But this would be obviously hugely significant if JJ can walk in year one.
You've had Alek Manoah and John Means, former Mountaineers, make the All-Star team. But in terms of winning a major award, that would be awesome.
Yeah, just keep playing, because he's a heavy favorite right now as we roll into August.
Also, the Boston Red Sox were 37-48. They were 37-48. Today they won again, 15 in a row.
Yeah, they're rolling.
That's an 80-year record they tied. Now, Ted Williams in 1946 led the Red Sox to a 15-game winning streak and to the American League pennant that year. The Red Sox have matched that club record with 15 consecutive wins. So they've gone, in a little over 2 weeks, they've gone from 37-48 to a playoff position. They're up 2 games now in the race for the final wild card in the American League.
It's a remarkable run, and especially in baseball. I think baseball is a hard sport to get on those runs because it's a different team every day. Right, based on who's pitching for you, it's a different team, and you're playing a different opponent every day. That's a remarkable run that Boston's on right now.
I believe it's the longest American League the longest American League winning streak in several years. The Cardinals had a 17-game winning streak a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So that's the longest recently. But the Red Sox, and there's another game. They've got a makeup game to play tonight as well, day-night doubleheader for the Red Sox and the Orioles as Boston goes for its 16th straight win tonight, which would be a new club record. Sitting at Statewide Sportsline, we'll take a break, and we'll check in with Beckley, where the State American Legion Baseball Tournament is scheduled to begin tomorrow. That's coming up next. We're in the Health Plan Studios, the Sitting at Statewide Sportsline.
Living with advanced heart failure can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to face it alone. At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our specialists offer advanced treatments like heart transplants, mechanical circulatory support, and device therapies to help you manage your condition. For more information, visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Parts of West Virginia continuing to contend with catastrophic flooding from Tuesday's rainfall, but the weather is mercifully quieter, cooler, and drier the rest of the week. Over the weekend into early next week, a more active pattern could bring additional heavy rainfall. For now, taking stock of what has already fallen. A swath of several inches of rain for a large area, with rainfall rates that surpassed 3 inches per hour, bringing more than 7 inches to Buchanan in just a matter of hours. Sand Run exceeding previous record flood stages by more than 2 feet. A devastating situation there. Fortunately, accumulation will be on the lighter side of things over the next 5-day period. Once we extend through Monday and Tuesday, it's possible that we have additional excessive rainfall in the area. But for now, high pressure building in from the north will secure some nice, quiet conditions for the rest of the work week. FlyStar W forecast, it starts at home, quieting down for D.C. as well, New York, Chicago. Not so much, though, for Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, Atlanta, those areas having some heavy rain themselves. Panhandle forecast, we'll have a very cool and clear night. Temperatures in low to mid 50s, below average temperatures, then staying on the cooler side with mid and upper 70s into our Thursday. Charlestown 57 tonight, then 79 here Thursday. Davis, a high of 70. Looking to Elkins with 53 and then 77 for a high. Staying shy of 80 in some of our warmer spots looking west. As we go through the southern parts of the region, mid-50s and low 60s for lows, then mid-70s, and now finding a few low 80s in the warmest spots. We'll gradually trend warmer and a bit more active into next week.
Back on the CityNet statewide Sportsline for this Wednesday, Kyle Wiggs, Greg Hunter, and Brad Howe, and we're going to go to Beckley and check in with the commissioner. The State American Legion Baseball Tournament begins tomorrow, and the State American Legion Baseball Chairman, Chris George, is with us. And, Chris, good evening.
How you guys doing?
Doing well. Also, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Pirates fan that I know. So your guys are there. They're in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, and you're one of the biggest Cardinals fans I know. So we're both neck and neck in the wild card race, Kyle, something that as a Pirates fan we're not used to since 2015.
Yeah, the Cardinals just snapped their 4-game losing streak literally 30 seconds ago. They got the final out. So J.J. Weatherholt's home run stands up as the only run of the game. The Cardinals snap a 4-game losing streak, beat the Angels 1-0. And you're right, I think they're tied, and the Pirates play again tonight, so a chance to regain that lead. All right, Chris, let's start with this. So I'm looking at the bracket here. Parkersburg, Bridgeport, Morgantown, and Wheeling all had to come down 79. I'm assuming the Eastern Panhandle teams went down through Virginia, but half the teams in the field had to get there, which was a problem earlier today. So I'm assuming everybody arrived and everything's good to go for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think I may have had the strangest trip going between Buchanan and Weston there on 33 and 48, just the amount of flood damage through that area. And I was a little concerned that I thought maybe I'd have to take a trip through the mountains through Pocahontas County to Lewisburg to get here. But fortunately, the roads were able to dry out and open up here late this morning into early this afternoon, and everybody made the trip down. They're here now. 3 of the teams are staying in the motel I'm at, and 3 are at another motel. They're having the banquet as we speak for the players and the coaches. And then we'll have a team meeting at Linda K. Epling Stadium here at 8 o'clock here later tonight.
And certainly, Chris, this has been a tournament that's gone on for many, many, many years. It moves around to different points in the state, but this year as competitive as the past, it looks like?
Yeah, we've had more extra inning games this year than I can remember since I've been involved with Legion Baseball, and I started getting involved back in the mid-'90s. And we've actually had to use the new 10th inning rule, which you see in the major leagues. Major League Baseball rules are adopted into the American Legion rule book. So you play 7 innings in Legion. However, you play the 8th and 9th straight up. We had many of those 8, 9 inning games this year. In the 10th inning, you put the runner on second base, similar to the major leagues, whoever made the last out in the previous half inning. We've had several of those this year. So that shows you how much parity there is in the state this year. I think we have more talent as well. We're starting to see more talent starting to come out and play for some of these teams. We've always had talent in the past. I think we're starting to get more and more of it. And less and less kids go on to strictly travel ball. We have kids that do both, so that helps. We kind of have a relationship there. They can sign a form and do both. But all in all, it's been a very, very fun year, a good year, and we've got very good, solid teams down here in Beckley this weekend.
Chris, give us an idea of schedule and format as you move over the next couple of days.
Of course, tomorrow morning we start up with Parkersburg, Post 15, Area 1 runner-up. They take on Berkeley, Post 14, Berkeley loaded. They have the best talent from Jefferson, Washington, also all the Berkeley County schools as well, Martinsburg included. And then at 1 p.m., we have Potomac Valley, Post 64, and one of the state's best players, Langston Orndorff from Frankfort. He headlines that roster of a slew of schools from the Potomac Valley. They take on the 2-time defending champion, winning Post 1, who was loaded again this year. Several talented players who are winning Central and Lindsley. And then at 4 p.m., we have Bridgeport. It's the Area 2 runners-up at 18-5, led by Owen Sonricker and crew. We know how good they are against South Charleston, Post 94, who has the best of the best from George Washington and St. Albans. Of course, those that remember, George Washington was our Quad A state champion. St. Albans was our Triple A state champion. And then finally the nightcap. It'll be a 7:30 start after opening ceremonies. Morgantown Post 2, the Area 2 champion, takes on the host, the Beckley Bash, Post 32, loaded with talent from down here in the southern Coalfield area of the state. And the last time we had the state tournament here in Beckley was 2005, and Beckley then won the state championship that year as well.
Wow, it's been 20 years since it's been in Beckley. That's surprising. That's surprising to me. As Greg mentioned, I mean, you moved this all around the state. It's been in Morgantown recently. It's been all over, been in the Eastern Panhandle. It's been all over. So talk about that aspect. It's part of the appeal of this, right? You want to move it around different parts of the state.
Yeah, we do. We want to find quality stadiums. We need to find the right fit. We need to have turf. That's number one. Find a stadium field where fans can come. And also we want production as MetroNews and, of course, video production as well stream the games for us. We need a multi-camera setup and all the facilities you need for streaming. And, and you want people that know how to run a tournament, right? So we've had some great tournament hosts over the years. Morgantown, very experienced at running Legion tournaments from regionals to states. And, so right now we're in Beckley, Linda K. Epling Stadium, for those that's never been there, former home of the West Virginia Miners of the Pioneer League, a former college baseball summer league team. It's a beautiful stadium, it really is. And it's glad we can bring the tournament here to Beckley coming up here in 24 hours from now.
Chris, the reward for the winner is?
Cherryville, North Carolina, the Southeast Regional. They will take on the North Carolina state champions. And I believe August 5th is the date. This is the first time in a while West Virginia has been in the Southeast region. Normally we're in the Mid-Atlantic, but now the Southeast and the American Legion kind of rearranged some things this year. We've been in the Southeast before. We've even been in the Great Lakes before. So it'll be a tough draw because you got state champions from North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, even Puerto Rico and Florida. So it's going to be a tough draw down in Cherryville. It has a very nice stadium, which is only about 20 minutes or so from Shelby, who hosts the American Legion World Series every year.
Yeah, that is a change. Last time it was in Morgantown, like you said, I think it was Midwest or Great Lakes because Illinois was there and Michigan was there and Indiana was there. But it's been historically that Mid-Atlantic group with Virginia and Pennsylvania and Maryland and Delaware. So this is a pretty significant change.
Yeah, it is a significant change, and it's fine. I mean, we get it. In fact, it kind of matches up with Little League, right? Because West Virginia has always been the Southeast
Yeah, that's
regional
true. Yeah.
with Little League, and American Legion Baseball does a great job. They have an app. You can download the American Legion World Series app, free download. It gives you all the regional information, and you can get all the scores and stuff once the regionals start here in the month of August.
All right, so again, all the games streamed at the MetroNews TV app. It begins at 10 o'clock, and I know, Chris, there's a lot of people dealing with tragedy. Fortunately, there again, like we said before, there was no injuries or loss of life, but people got a lot of work to do to put the pieces back together, and I know that's your area of the state, so I know you probably made that trip through that area with a heavy heart today on your way to Beckley.
Yeah, it brought me back flashbacks to the flood of 1985 in the Elkins area. Of course, I was part of that. Fortunately, I wasn't where I lived. We didn't get hit by the flood of 85, but going through Buchanan and Weston, guys, it was eerie familiar to some of the sites I saw, especially in the Weston and Lewis County area. It's just sad to see. I hope everybody's going to be okay. And hey, hope we can give them something to watch this weekend. If they're not able to get out of their house, they can tune on the MetroNews app and watch some good baseball down here in Beckley.
All right, very good, Chris. We'll check in with you and get updates on the games tomorrow and Friday. We appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Chris George there, State American Legion Baseball Commissioner, as he's in charge of running the State American Legion Tournament, which starts tomorrow in Beckley. Again, all the games at the MetroNews TV app. Parkersburg against Berkeley at 10 a.m., 1 o'clock Potomac Valley against Wheeling. Wheeling's won this 2 years in a row. Bridgeport against South Charleston at 4 o'clock, and then Morgantown against Beckley, the host team. That's the showcase game at 7 o'clock from Epling Field. So one thing the weather did do with those storms, it cooled it off. So we're going to have fabulous, nice, cool, dry weather here for the foreseeable future. We'll take a break. Text line open, 304-TALK 304. It's the CityNet statewide sports line. CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet is probably right at your front door, and now's the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. Fiber is now at your front door and even in rural areas and communities across West Virginia. Thanks to broadband expansion funding, your tax dollars helped make it possible. And CityNet turned that investment into real connections for local families and businesses. Now, you can get blazing fast fiber internet with free installation, free equipment, no long-term contract, and local customer support that's always close to home. Don't settle for slow or no internet for another day. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Sportsline for this Wednesday, 304 Talk 304. A few minutes for some texts. Do want to mention, we talked about the every game from the State American Legion tournament on the MetroNews TV app. Also, the 2026 West Virginia Prep Football Showcase will premiere Saturday at 8 o'clock on MetroNews TV and on the YouTube channel and at the app. That's hosted by Travis Jones and Joe Bricado. It'll recap the 2026 Coalfields and Company West Virginia Prep Football Showcase from Pony Lewis Field in Morgantown. And that program features many of West Virginia's top high school football prospects from all four classes in the state of West Virginia, single, double, triple, and quad, and the expert analysis as well. So they'll talk about those players and look ahead at some of the players and the teams that are expected to do great things this year in West Virginia high school football. 8 o'clock Saturday, 8 p.m. Saturday on MetroNews TV, the Prep Football Showcase. Also, guys, I got a note today about the Logan Senior League softball team. They won the state tournament, and they're off to Clarksville, Tennessee this week to begin play Friday in that regional. And they will open up against the Florida State champ Friday afternoon at 12:30. So that's the Logan Senior League team winning the state championship. And reading through the game story, a lot of names that I called the double-A portion of the West Virginia High School Championship, and there's a lot of young ladies that were on that team that are representing Logan at the regional level. So that's going on this week as well. And, Brad, you ran across friend of the program, WVU women's basketball recruit from Canada, Skylar Forbes.
Yeah, if you need something to do tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, Canadian national team will be taking on UCLA in an exhibition. Skylar is a part of that Team Canada team, so if you want to get a little preview on what Skylar's game looks like, and Greg, we've talked about it. If you talk to these West Virginia coaches, they're extremely excited to get her here on campus. Well, has been on campus here for a little bit, but excited to get her in game shape for WVU because she's a player coming in from Marquette.
Well, certainly competed in the 3-on-3 for Canada just a couple of weeks ago when we had her on from Chile, and then now part of the 5-on-5 team from Canada. So obviously she is elite in that country. And we know that country puts out a lot of really good basketball players, both men and women.
Double duty there for Team Canada for her. That game's on YouTube, and you can follow it. If you head over to WVU Women's Basketball social media, you can get the link to the YouTube page there.
Texter points out that Parkersburg native Steve Swisher played in a Major League Baseball. Did Nick Swisher ever make? Well, we were talking about West Virginia guys. He didn't go to West Virginia, but a native of Parkersburg, did Nick Swisher ever make the All-Star team?
He had to have.
That's what I thought.
Right? He had to have. That's a good research project there. He had a heck of a career.
I'll get you that.
One other baseball note, Brad. Did you see that Kansas and Iowa this October are playing an exhibition game on the Field of Dreams field.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome move there. Yeah,
isn't it?
hosted by the University of Iowa. They're not too far from Iowa City if you go to Dyersville, where the Field of Dreams is located. And yeah, I saw that. They're going to play an exhibition game there against Kansas. That's a great call. That's been a fun I'm a big Field of Dreams guy, being from Iowa, but watching that major league game there over the last couple of years, that's an awesome event, and I hope that comes back here in future years. But what a neat experience for those college kids to play on that field.
I assume you've been there?
Yeah, I've been there back in the day before it became what it is today. In fact, quick story for you. So I was a second baseman through my college baseball career. The shortstop that was my double play partner for 3 of those 4 years that I played, he and his dad built the cabinets inside the farmhouse on the Field of Dreams set. They lived right nearby in Dubuque, and his dad was a cabinet maker. And when Hollywood came in, they had to do some renovations to the farmhouse, and so he and his dad built the cabinets in the kitchen scenes every time they're in the farmhouse there at Field of Dreams. So yeah, I've been there before, and been a long time, but would love to go back at one of those major league games that's there.
Nick Swisher, by the way, 2010 All-Star.
Made the All-Star team.
But,
good.
Again, not a WVU guy.
Yeah. He was an Ohio State guy too.
Yeah.
First-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. I've never been to the Field of Dreams. That's on the list of that was my brother's all-time favorite movie. So my brother and my father went there back in the 90s. But I've never been to that Field of Dreams.
It's worth it if you're close. I was there literally 3 or 4 years after the movie. It was not commercialized at all. There wasn't even a merchandise tent. It was a different deal. It was basically as it was when it was filmed.
Interesting. Well, good show tonight. We appreciate it. Thanks to the texters. Thanks to our guests as well. Mike Tesch, the University of Charleston head football coach, and, of course, Chris George down in Beckley with the start of the State American Legion baseball tournament tomorrow. Thanks for listening and watching. We're back tomorrow night with another edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.